Success. It's a word that carries weight, a dream pursued by millions, yet only a select few truly reach its pinnacle. What sets these individuals apart from the masses? Is it luck, hard work, or is it something more profound, something deeper than most can comprehend? To understand the path of the great millionaires, we must first understand how they perceive the world. They don't just see the world as it is. They see what it could be. They understand opportunities in ways that most people cannot even imagine. Elon Musk, one of the most talked about entrepreneurs of our time, often speaks about the invisible barriers that separate the successful from the unsuccessful. These barriers are not physical, but psychological. They are born from how we perceive the world, how we approach problems, and how we make decisions. It's a mindset, one that is often developed through years of failure, learning, and relentless ambition. The first step in understanding this invisible barrier is recognizing that most people live their lives within the constraints of their current reality. They make decisions based on what they see in front of them, rarely stepping outside of their comfort zone or questioning the status quo. They are bound by the limitations of what they know. The millionaires, on the other hand, do not accept the world as it is. They ask, what if? They look at a problem not as a roadblock, but as an opportunity for innovation, an opportunity to create something new where others see nothing. When Elon Musk first set his sights on space exploration, the world believed it to be a dream, something far beyond the reach of any individual, especially a private company. But Musk didn't see it that way. He didn't look at the current limitations of the space industry and accept them as fact. Instead, he saw potential. He asked himself how he could make space travel more affordable, how he could reduce costs, and how he could push the boundaries of what was considered possible. His ability to see beyond the current reality, to imagine a future that others could not fathom, is what set him apart. He didn't just follow the traditional path laid out for him. He broke free from it and created something new. This is the mindset that differentiates millionaires from the rest. They are not limited by what is in front of them. They are guided by a vision of what could be, and they make decisions that align with that vision. It's this kind of thinking that has allowed people like Musk, Bezos, and Gates to revolutionize industries and amass fortunes. They understood that the world is full of possibilities, and instead of accepting the world as it is, they chose to create a new one. The invisible barrier that holds most people back is their inability to think beyond the present moment, to imagine a future that is radically different from what they see around them. It's not a lack of intelligence or resources. It's a lack of vision, a lack of courage to step into the unknown and pursue something greater than what currently exists. The great millionaires are not afraid to take risks, not because they are reckless, but because they believe in the possibilities that lie beyond the boundaries of conventional thinking. They understand that failure is not the end. It's simply a step along the way, a necessary part of the process. They embrace failure because it teaches them something valuable, something that the majority of people are too afraid to learn. Failure isn't something to be feared, it's something to be understood and leveraged to move closer to success. Every failure brings with it a lesson, a nugget of wisdom that, when applied correctly, can lead to breakthroughs. The key to overcoming the invisible barrier is the ability to think differently, to see the world not as it is, but as it could be, to challenge the status quo and create new solutions where none seem to exist. This kind of thinking is not reserved for the few. It is available to anyone willing to embrace the unknown, to take risks, and to keep pushing forward, even when the path is unclear. In many ways, the invisible barrier is simply a way of thinking. It's the difference between seeing obstacles and seeing opportunities. It's the difference between being confined by the present moment and imagining a future that is limitless. This mindset is what allows the great millionaires to thrive, to build empires, and to change the world in ways that most people can only dream of. The first step in breaking through the invisible barrier is to start asking the right questions. Not, how can I make money today? But rather, what could the future look like if I pursued this idea? This shift in thinking opens up new possibilities and begins to unlock the potential that lies hidden within every individual. Once this shift occurs, the path to success becomes clearer, and the world no longer seems as limited as it once did. Risk. It's a word that sends chills down the spine of most people. It represents the unknown, the possibility of losing everything. But for millionaires, risk isn't something to fear. It's something to understand, to control, and to use as a tool for growth. This is one of the key elements that separates the successful from the unsuccessful, the mindset of controlled risk. When we talk about risk, the general perception is that it involves jumping headfirst into the unknown without thinking about the consequences. Many people associate taking risks with recklessness, with doing something without a clear plan or preparation. But that's not how millionaires view risk. To them, risk is a calculated move. It's not about being careless or impulsive, but about assessing potential rewards and making decisions based on careful analysis and foresight. Elon Musk, for example, didn't simply wake up one day and decide to pour billions of dollars into SpaceX without understanding the immense risk involved. He understood the possibility of failure, and he was fully aware of the obstacles ahead. But what set him apart was his ability to see beyond the immediate risks and focus on the potential rewards. He wasn't driven by fear. He was driven by the long-term vision of making life multi-planetary. His ability to take risks, while managing them strategically, has been one of the driving forces behind his success. In fact, many of the world's most successful entrepreneurs didn't get to where they are by avoiding risk altogether. They embraced it, but in a way that was controlled and deliberate. Jeff Bezos didn't start Amazon without a plan. He didn't dive into the online retail business without understanding the risks involved. He calculated the potential pitfalls, weighed the consequences, and then moved forward, fully aware that the journey would be fraught with challenges. But he also saw the immense potential for success, and that vision kept him going. The key to mastering risk is understanding that it's not about eliminating all danger. It's about making informed decisions. Millionaires don't approach risk like gamblers. They approach it like strategists, considering all the variables and potential outcomes before making a move. They ask themselves questions like, what's the worst that can happen? And what do I stand to gain if I succeed? These questions guide them in making smarter decisions that balance risk and reward. This ability to assess and manage risk is what allows the great millionaires to take bold steps when others would hesitate. It's not about blind optimism or sheer luck. It's about leveraging knowledge, experience, and intuition to navigate the unknown with confidence. It's about being aware of the stakes and deciding that the potential reward is worth the risk. Another crucial aspect of the millionaire mindset is the understanding that failure is not permanent. Many people avoid risk because they fear failure, but millionaires don't see failure as the end. They see it as part of the process, as a necessary step on the road to success. When something doesn't work out as planned, they don't give up. Instead, they learn from it, adapt, and move forward with a renewed sense of purpose. This is why they are able to take calculated risks again and again, without letting past failures define their future. It's also important to note that taking risks doesn't mean throwing caution to the wind. The most successful people in the world are not reckless. They are thoughtful, disciplined, and strategic in their approach. They don't dive into uncharted territory without preparation. They do their research, gather the necessary resources, and then take action. They understand the risks, but they also understand the reward. For many people, the fear of failure can be paralyzing. It prevents them from taking the steps necessary to achieve their goals. But for millionaires, this fear is just another obstacle to be overcome. They don't let the fear of failure dictate their actions. Instead, they use it as a motivator, a signal that they are pushing the boundaries of what is possible. Every failure, every setback, is just another lesson to be learned, another piece of the puzzle to be solved. Ultimately, the key to understanding the mindset of controlled risk is to realize that it's not about avoiding failure. It's about using failure as a tool for growth. Millionaires don't fear failure because they know that it's an inevitable part of the journey. They embrace it, learn from it, and continue moving forward with even more determination. It's this mindset that allows them to take bold risks and achieve extraordinary success. This ability to manage risk, to see failure not as a dead end but as a learning experience, is what separates the great millionaires from everyone else. They understand that taking risks is essential to growth, but they also understand that these risks must be carefully calculated, strategically planned, and approached with the mindset of someone who sees failure not as a defeat, but as a lesson on the road to success. As we dive deep into the mindset and strategies that separate the wealthy from the rest, it becomes evident that success isn't a matter of luck or mere circumstances. It's about the decisions we make, the risks we're willing to take, and the vision we're committed to chasing, no matter how audacious it may seem. The great millionaires, people like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and others, have something unique, a mindset that not only embraces risk but leverages it as a stepping stone toward their dreams. They see failure not as something to fear, but as an inevitable part of growth, something that teaches them valuable lessons on the path to success. What's striking about the journeys of these individuals is that their achievements were not dictated by the world around them. They didn't follow the traditional path that most people take, filled with safety nets and assurances. Instead, they broke free from those conventional boundaries and forged new paths that led to innovations, disruptions, and transformations on a global scale. They understood that the true barrier to success isn't the world outside. It's the invisible barriers in our minds that keep us from seeing opportunities, taking calculated risks, and growing beyond what we thought was possible. In order to join the ranks of these extraordinary individuals, it's not enough to just work hard or hope for success. It requires a fundamental shift in how we think about risk, failure, and progress. It requires the courage to step into the unknown, to take those risks with confidence, and to use every setback as a stepping stone toward the future we want to build. By adopting the mindset of controlled risk, seeing failure as a lesson, and constantly challenging the status quo, anyone can unlock their true potential and move closer to their goals. But remember, this is a journey, one that requires patience, perseverance, and above all, a belief in yourself and your vision. Success is not a straight line. It's full of twists, turns, and challenges. But if you learn to embrace those challenges and view them as opportunities for growth, you will find that every step, no matter how difficult, brings you closer to where you want to be. If you found value in this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support means the world and helps us reach more people who are ready to break free from their limitations and take control of their futures. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. Comment below with your biggest takeaway from this video, or share any challenges you've faced on your own journey toward success. I'm excited to hear what's been on your mind and how you plan to apply these principles to your own life. Remember, the path to becoming a great millionaire isn't reserved for the few. It's available to anyone willing to break through the invisible barriers, take calculated risks, and learn from their failures. So what will you do today to begin your journey toward success?